My name's Raquel Pennington. I'm 26, fighting out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I fight for the UFC. You never know what story hides behind a person. I mean, you can see them for the face of a fighter or whatever it may be, but there's something that goes so much deeper. To hide who you are, it's probably one of the worst feelings. Know exactly who you are and you're just dying inside to let it out. I first understood that I was gay probably my 8th grade year. It was with one of my best friends that I grew up with. She made a move, and at that moment when everything happened, that void that I've always felt was finally fulfilled. For a while it remained a secret, and then I went into the Ultimate Fighter. I was like, you know what, I'm doing something for myself. This is absolutely for me. I'm gonna do everything that I believe in and who I am. And I think that's the first time that I really became open to where anybody would know. Anybody who heard Raquel Pennington was gonna know exactly everything about me. When I came home and talked to my family, and I told them, I was like, you know, I came out on TV, and their first reaction was, that's a disappointment. You're throwing it in everybody's face, especially your grandparents. To a certain degree, it kind of made me feel like maybe I shouldn't have stood up for who I was. When my episode finally aired and it came out, the responses that I got from people, I sat there and read hundreds and thousands of emails. It really impacted them to feel comfortable to stand up for who they are. All because I chose to finally stand up for who I am on national TV, and just really leaving that impact and realizing what I've done for other people. I think from that point is when my family really accepted who I was, and I felt like I could truly be me for once, and it was just another puzzle piece to my happiness. I'm very family oriented. My family means the world to me. I guess it's that big Mexican family is the way a lot of people like to put it. We have family dinners about 4 to 5 times a week, and it's something normal for us, and it's something that I really love. I feel like it gives us that opportunity just to be together, to really share our lives, to really understand each other, and just to really stay connected.
That looks intimidating.
One thing that's really important is spending time with my grandparents. I just love that. I feel like it's an escape from life. So I go over there, I play Yahtzee with my Nana. Now it's gotten to the point where she's like, you know what, you better bring your dollar bills. We're definitely gonna go for this. It keeps that spark in life, and it takes me out of my daily grind of what I do all the time, living in the gym. It just kind of gives me that mental break to enjoy something different. I have amazing fans. I mean, I definitely love my fans. It's not just about you in the sport. My fans, they send me letters all the time. They write me emails, and it's amazing to see the stories that people really want to share with you, stories that they haven't really been able to tell themselves throughout their life. And I feel blessed to have that opportunity to be the one to read those things, understand them, or be able to relate to them in some shape or form. It leaves a really big impact on me as well. You know, it's nice to just go out and take some time out of my day to, as simple as taking somebody out to lunch for their birthday. It can make their world just by doing a simple gesture like that. It does something positive for me, and I enjoy every time that I interact with somebody. I think another thing that's really important is the fact that you should probably interact with up-and-coming fighters. I remember being that young athlete, that little girl who just wanted that attention from those other athletes that I really looked up to and that I was inspired by. And I have a ton of athletes who really look up to me, especially in the MMA world. I mean, you have so many young girls who are getting into it, and being a women MMA fighter is a lot different than being a male. But I know the struggles of when I started my career and having to battle through finding different training partners. I definitely like taking that time to just kind of reach out to those up-and-coming fighters. It really impacts me just to be a part of that, and it inspires me too, and it just makes me want to be better as an athlete, as a person, and just as a fighter. You know, I go into the gym every day with drive, passion. My ultimate goal is to definitely be a world champion. There's a long way for me to still go. I'm still figuring out a lot. I'm a young athlete. I can sit here and I may be ranked behind the top 10, but I could be that close to a title shot still. You always got to be ready to go. This is what my life is about. I want to see where I can truly go with it. I have boxing, wrestling. My body's trained in so many different ways, and that's one thing I love. I have that strength and that power, and that's the fun part. I'm figuring out how to constantly use it. One thing that I really live by in life is I really believe that you're your own artist, whether it's in the gym and in the cage or whether it's just in life in general. I feel like we've all been dealt one life, and we get to design it the way we want. We get to live it the way that we believe. It's definitely important to just completely be yourself and let the world know who you are, what you're about. Be unique, but be comfortable in your own skin.
UFC fighter and former star of The Ultimate Fighter, Raquel Pennington, is with us now. Welcome, Raquel.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we have a slew of questions from fans all over the place, but I have to ask first. So we're going to ask you first, how did you get involved in fighting?
I have no idea. I kind of just grew up being a huge tomboy. I'm the only female out of all male cousins and a brother. And I kind of always wanted to box, but my parents told me no. I was too pretty and my teeth were way too nice. So I kind of passed that up. It was hard, though, because I grew up with a best friend who her dad is a boxing coach and her brothers are professional boxers. So I kind of just, I guess I got my taste for it when I'd go watch them fight, and then I would go home, put on the gloves, and beat up my cousins. But what really got me into it was more or less a joke, I guess. I broke my back snowboarding, so I couldn't take any scholarships for any of my sports. So I took an academic scholarship, and then from there, I told my mom I was going to start doing MMA instead of boxing because it was a lot more intense, a lot more to look out for. And she was like, go for it. And when she said that, I was like, oh, that was bad news. So I started training, and 4 months later, came home, told her I was going to fight, and here I am 8 years later.
Now, do either one of your parents do anything similar to fighting? Are they in law enforcement, military, or anything like that?
My dad used to be in the military, but he's like your redneck guy that lives down in Florida and hunts and fish. And my mom, she's actually a beautician. She does hair and stuff.
Oh, that's fascinating. So this is really something unique for you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. We always like to explore the minds of the fighters before they get in. Do you remember your very first fight?
I do. I always make fun of myself because you know how, like, Chihuahuas are really hyper and they bounce around a lot and stuff? I feel like that's what I look like when I got into the cage. Everybody's like, you're so calm and composed when you're fighting. And I'm like, yeah, now you should have seen my first fight. I got in there and I think I was just so nervous. And I was just like, I was bouncing around really weird. And
did you scare the other opponent?
No, she came at me all crazy, but I choked her out in the first minute.
You choked her out in the first minute. Now, how did that feel for you when you choked her out?
It was exciting. I think that's when it became addicting. Like, I've always been shy and kind of just, I don't know, being put under the spotlight like that and then getting a big victory like that. It was really exciting. I can't even explain it. And then after that, it just made me want to go back and train and do it again.
And that was the first fight in the octagon itself?
Yep.
How was it with the crowd and everything? Was it hard to stay focused on your opponent and your moves, or did it just come naturally?
Actually, it just came really natural. My first fight was actually in Wyoming in this crazy little bar kind of, and it was just a bunch of drunk people getting all rowdy. And I mean, when I was getting ready to walk out, you notice all them, but then the minute I got into the cage, it's like everything went black and all I could see was my opponent, the spotlight, and all I could hear was my coaches.
Oh, that's interesting. So you really were able to tune in and tune out everybody else.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How fascinating. I get the funny feeling you really enjoy it.
I do.
Now, how long you been fighting?
I've actually been fighting for 8 years, going on 9.
Oh, wow. Any moments where you thought, oh boy, this isn't going to be an easy fight, or you were in trouble in the middle of a fight?
Every fight, you know?
Every fight,
every fight gets harder. The opponents get tougher, and I've never taken an easy fight in my career. I've fought chicks all within the top 10 in the world, and just constantly, I've gone through things. A lot of it comes from, I guess, believing in yourself too. And there for a while, I kind of went through a lot of changes within gyms, within coaches, and I kind of quit believing in myself for a little bit. I kind of lost my passion too, so that took a little bit of a toll. But yeah, I would have to say every fight you kind of go through some emotions and you really question things.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I know when I've talked to other fighters, it's always interesting to see what they go through, because we only see you from out here. You know, I look at you when I saw you're fighting, and I just know you can end me in a couple of seconds here. And but obviously, you don't see that side of the other person. Now, when you finish fighting, does it turn off? Like, are you still on a high after the fight, or are you kind of like, whew, this is it? Take a break for a second.
It's interesting. I think you're on such a high adrenaline rush, and then the fight's over and your body calms down, and we always prepare. We're like, yeah, we're going to go out and celebrate. We're going to go spend time with everybody who came and supported me, whatever it may be. And somehow I always end up falling asleep. Doesn't work out.
The adrenaline rush was too much.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. This is a little different question. We haven't had a female fighter on the show yet. It's interesting because I know I've asked some of the male fighters, when they're out in public, do they ever get challenged? Is anybody stupid enough to say, hey, you, come here? Do you get that at all?
All the time.
What?
It's crazy. And you know the funny part? It's mainly from guys. I think guys' egos are interesting. So, yeah, it's mainly guys. They want to challenge me to a wrestling match, or they want to box, or they just want to, they use it as a way to flirt. And it's interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of peculiar.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken one up?
I've always taken the challenges. I always like to play around, interact with fans, and do stuff. So I've always taken it on.
Now, how would you say, would you recommend, I know mixed martial arts, obviously what you're doing is quite different, but would you recommend women to take self-defense courses? You think it'll help them? Some people say it might give them too much confidence. What's your take on that?
No, I definitely would. I think it's something great. I actually used to run before my career really got extremely busy, and now I'm like filming a movie and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's it's too hard. I had to put it on hold. But me and one of my trainers, we actually taught a women's self-defense class, and it was phenomenal watching these women come in, and a lot of them had no confidence at all. They were intimidated to even step into the gym. It took me a lot to like convince them that it was okay, and that I kind of had to make it a really comfortable environment for them, and just to watch them grow through there and as an individual person is amazing. I think it's something that's great for women. A lot of women are intimidated going into gyms because of guys in there, or they don't want to like work out in front of people. They feel like they don't know what they're doing. But when you have somebody guiding them, and I think it made it a lot better just given my situation to see where I've come, and they kind of all knew my background and stuff. So it was more of like an inspirational thing for them. And I think it's great. I think every woman should do it. Like whether it's just to stay in shape, whether it's just something to kind of occupy your time, whatever it may be, but it definitely is something good for a female and their confidence levels.
Sounds like it. It's fabulous. It's really interesting. I never thought about it that way. We got one more question, then I got a couple questions from some fans, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
One question. What do you think about the role of women? I mean, you seem to be very accepted in society today as a fighter, or maybe 40 years ago, that might not have been that easy.
Yeah.
Do you think the role of women have changed a lot?
I definitely think it has changed. I think that women are getting the respect that we deserve. I think before it used to be all about males, and the males have this role and they do this and they're better than women at all this other stuff. But I think it took us a long way to pave the road on where we've all come as women fighters, especially. And I think, we've really grown. We've really proven ourselves. And I think that really shows in the cage too. We get in there and everybody's like, these days, I think you could take a vote on, you can ask people, what fight did you think was more interesting, this male fight or this female fight? And most of them go for the female. And I think it's just because we know we have so much to prove, and we put on those exciting fights. Like, we really step up to the plate. And so it's definitely changed in a positive way. The
style of fighting has changed dramatically too. I remember years ago it was more slapping kind of fighting, but now I watch the fights and it's amazing to see it. It's like big trouble there.
Oh yeah, it's intense. It's like you got to watch out for a knee, an elbow, takedowns, kicks, everything.
Unbelievable stuff. First question we have is from Austin in Irvine. He wants to know, how was it being on The Ultimate Fighter?
It was an awesome experience. I can't say it's something that I would probably ever do again, but as far as the experience overall, it gave me a big opportunity to grow as an individual and as an athlete. I was living my dream constantly with everybody else who was living the same exact dream. So we got to watch each other. We got to learn how different fighters adapt and grow and do things. And then we just built relationships that can never be changed. It was definitely a good experience, but it was really tough. So the fact that they call it tough for The Ultimate Fighter, I mean, it suits its name. It was hard. And
really?
The short time period that we went through and the things that we had to go through, a lot of people I don't think they'll ever really understand that, because they just kind of see what they see on TV, but they don't see the rest of the details that come along with it.
Yeah, there's no way they can understand it unless they're in your shoes. We have Luis from New Mexico. He wants to know, what are you doing to prepare for the Bethe Correria fight coming up?
I'm training constantly every day. I train 5 days a week, and then I do some active recovery on the weekends. But I'm just mainly focusing on me. I trust in my coaches and my teammates to prepare me the way that they need to. And at the end of the day, I just stay focusing on the athlete that I am, believing in me, and just getting ready, training every aspect.
Do you train, like, lift weights and you do cardio as well?
Yeah, I do everything. I love lifting weights. I'm probably one of the stronger females. I mean, you can probably ask most of the fighters out there, and they'll sit there and say the same thing. But I've always loved lifting weights. So I do strength and conditioning in the mornings, and then in the afternoon and evenings, I go through and train different aspects of the sport, and then I put it together as a whole and get in a bunch of sparring and stuff.
Let me ask you this question. I saw your Instagram the other day, or maybe a couple of days ago, and you were at some function. I think it was a charity function.
Yeah, actually, so I like to just really interact. I don't know if you've seen a post that I also did where I don't know, it's really important to me as an athlete. I remember being that young girl who just wanted, like, I looked up to people and I wanted their autograph or wanted their picture, but a lot of athletes kind of forget where they come from or what the fans have actually helped build them to where they're at, and they stop appreciating those little things. So when it comes to me, I've had a lot of people who's reached out to me, and I took the time to go through thousands and thousands of messages. I have to admit, at one point, I felt like I was never going to get through them because it went back from way before The Ultimate Fighter, just from fans. And all I wanted to do was try to acknowledge them in some shape or form, whether it was a smiley face or actually writing them back, sending autographed pictures. And throughout those messages, a lot of people, they say that I inspire them, but they actually inspire me with their messages, the stories they share. And it was just one of those ones where somebody reached out to me and she wanted me to go to interact with a youth soccer group. So
yeah, I saw that.
She asked me if I would go. And so I showed up to one of their soccer practices and kind of talked to the kids about athletics, talked to them about their schooling. And then the kids decided that they wanted to challenge me in soccer, and I kind of made it like a fun thing to where if I played in their world of soccer, they had to shadow box me or do something. So it was fun. I actually played the kids in a soccer game, the 10 and under group, and then I played the 10 to 14-year-olds, and then the parents actually came out onto the field, and we all played soccer against each other. So it's pretty fun interaction.
I have to redirect everybody to that. You can find her at Raquel_Pennington on Instagram. It really shows the wonderful side of Raquel. Some things you won't see in the octagon all the time. But I tell you, fabulous person. Great stuff, Raquel. Great stuff.
Thank you.
You also went to a laser place as well, it seems like.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
I do all kinds of stuff. Being an athlete my whole life, I freaking am always in shorts and I hate shaving. And the guys are just like, sometimes I'm just like, you know what, you guys got to deal with the prickly legs. But I'm actually sponsored by laser hair removal now, so it works out. I'm getting my hair removed.
A couple more questions, and then we'll let you go because I know you're busy. We truly appreciate your time. Do you ever train with males? I mean, does it make a difference at all because they're a little stronger typically than some of the females, or does the size difference mess you up?
So, I think that's what's made me tough my whole life. I told you about my guy cousins, and then when I got into the sport, I only ever trained with males.
Oh, wow.
People bigger than me, and I was actually, most of the guys are like, we love having you as a training partner. You're tougher than some of the dudes in here, and then the power and everything that you bring behind you is just phenomenal as a female. So I've always trained with guys, and I'll actually go mix it up every now and then to train with a female because females roll a lot different. They punch completely different. Like everything about a woman fighter is just a lot different. But the main people I train with is males.
Interesting. Last question. I know you fought Holly Holmes, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And did you expect her to beat Ronda?
It's a fight. It can go any way. And I said that if it went to the ground, Ronda would win. But if it was a stand-up match, that Holly would win. I didn't expect it to happen the way that it did with a head kick. Yeah. But I think Ronda was just getting pretty frustrated out there. With that being said, there's a lot more that goes on behind the face of a fighter in the personal life or whatever it may be that can distract you mentally. But I think at the end of the day, when it came to that fight, I think Ronda was just really exposed on her stand-up. She was trying to outstrike a world-class boxer, and she kind of got the worst end of it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Who do you have your eyes on now in the future? Anybody? Would you want to take Holly on again for a rematch, or?
Most definitely. I was doing this whole thing of the revenge tour, and then they offered me Bethe, which, I mean, at the end of the day, the women's division's still small, and so I plan to fight every female in there. And the ultimate goal is obviously to become the world champion, so I do have to climb that ladder. Bethe is within the top 10, so it's a good opportunity for me. But, I mean, there's still those girls that I do want to go avenge the losses to, and Holly is one of them.
Oh, it'll be a great fight. We can't wait to see that. Raquel Pennington, what an awesome person. Thank you so much again for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was
Tell
great
us
talking.
where we can find more about you.
You guys can constantly follow me on Instagram at Raquel_Pennington. You can follow me on Facebook, Raquel Rocky Pennington. And then Twitter is Rocky P MMA. I'm constantly trying to stay busy on there, posting just little things, interacting, showing my life outside of the cage as well as inside. So
You definitely do that. I can see that. I follow you on Instagram. I follow her on Twitter and Facebook. Everyone, I highly recommend. Join up. Follow Raquel Pennington. Great person. Awesome fighter. We thank you again, Raquel.
thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It was awesome. Thank you very much. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Raquel Pennington. Unbelievable UFC fighter. Tremendous person.